Hello, friends. The following episode contains subject matter that some listeners may find triggering around self-harm and teenage substance abuse. If you or someone you love is struggling, contact the Canadian Suicide Crisis Helpline at 988 or kidshelpphone.ca anytime, day or night. Internationally, please contact your local crisis assistance center. Hey, we're downstairs. Door's open. Thanks for coming back. Yeah, season 1 was wild. Now we're in the basement. Before, all we had was our room, but now it's 10 years later. So we've got this whole pad down here set up, and yeah, it's a little messier. I'm back here, Bronwin Parks, here with my partner in crime,
Elinor Svoboda. Hey, everyone.
I hope you're ready to dig into our senior year in high school, which was 1998. And this is season 2 of Late in 88.
Let's go. If you were with us in season 1, welcome back. If you weren't, we're going to catch you all up. By the end of season 1, Bronwin and I had become childhood friends and adult friends. We went from never having been friends to being friends in 2 timelines at once, and learned a lot about ourselves.
Moving on to this new chapter is super exciting and terrifying in its own way.
In season 1, I think you called our middle childhood a steamer trunk full of shit.
Yeah.
So we did deal with that. Mm-hmm. What might you describe what we are encountering and tackling in this senior year of high school?
Oh, this is definitely like a full storage closet full of fuckery.
Storage locker, a storage closet?
No, it's a storage closet full of fuckery.
Okay. Jumping forward from 1988 to 1998, what would you say happened in that decade? Bring us up to spiff as we arrive at 1998, Bronwin.
Spiff?
Up to spiff.
What the fuck is up to spiff?
I don't know. Up to speed.
No, is spiff a word?
I think people say bring it up to spiff.
I've never heard that in my life.
Oh my God.
Up to speed? Is it just bring us up to speed?
Okay.
Being a tomboy did not stop. It just got bigger. I was still a bit of an outsider and a weirdo. Bullying continued from a variety of sources. So I'd say over that time, I just kept putting on more armor. And that armor took various forms. A lot of it looked like leather jackets, ripped jeans, sunglasses, generally a go fuck ye self type of attitude. I definitely ended up hanging out with the other outsiders, right? The other weirdos. That was my crew. By the time we got to senior year, over that time, I did come out to some of my closest friends. I guess it was 14. I did come out as bisexual at that time, as a soft sell, because it's less threatening. I knew at 14 that I was gay, but I'm I'll say I'm bisexual. That way I can get away with a lot of my girl feelings. But then it became really obvious, and I'm okay. By the time I was 16, I came out all the way, and it's just funny. I kind of went full metalhead into cowboy. Was the path I took. Hung out at the smoke doors and went to parties and hung out with the mechanics guys and worked at the ranch. And obviously out at the ranch, very, very closeted. I was very careful to be closeted out there and went to great lengths to ensure that nobody knew I was queer there. I went as far as asking out a guy who I knew had a girlfriend, but wouldn't be able to stop himself from telling everybody that I had asked him out, so that it would dissuade all the rumors that I might be gay, because I never went to the bar and picked up guys, and I never showed any interest in any of the cowboys out of the ranch. And then of course everybody made fun of me for asking him out, but I'm I don't care, because at least now the rumors have stopped. It was dangerous if they thought you were gay, mm-hmm. and especially dangerous if they thought you were a woman who was gay. That was very threatening to the men. It was kind of wild. But either way, yeah, I felt from that period, from 8 years old to 17, 18, I really just felt I was constantly just putting on armor. More and more armor.
looking out at this beautiful, big foothill sky. Like, there ain't nothing like it, folks. Like, big sky country. Seriously.
Where was your joy? Where did you find the most joy?
Oh, just with the horses. That's where all my joy was. That was like the only place. I love my friends, and I'm still friends with a lot of them today, but like, my horses accepted me for who I was, like, unconditionally, and they were always there for me, and they never threatened me, so I would always escape to them. The amount of times where I would be in like crisis and I would drive out to Cochrane.
This is the remnants of Windy Ridge Stables on the edge of the very loud Highway 1A.
I was never able to afford my own horse, so I worked with a lot of rescue animals. I had sort of a deal with this one barn owner, and he would like buy these school horses, and so I would work with the school horses until they were ready to be used as school horses. And so some of them were rougher than others, and so I would always like drive out there and like whatever horse I was working with at the time, and I would just like hang out with them for hours in the middle of the night. I would literally like just pull over at the approach to their pasture and just like hang out on the fence and like call them over and like just sit there with them. That was my happy place.
This is a feed bin, wash rack. Used to wash my pony here. This box right here, this is mine. This is my tack bin. Back in the day, that's where all my stuff used to live. This is where I learned how to talk to animals. Yeah. It's pretty cool to be back here. I'm gonna go cry in a corner now.
What was the journey for you, Elinor? Like going from now looking at 8 to 18?
Looking back at some of the dynamics of anxiety and the skittishness, that stuck around. You know, I was a happy-go-lucky kid and social. I continued to be social and continued to hang out with a lot of the same people that I did. Although in junior high school, I would say girls got mean, and I really struggled with that. I mean, I remember the first day of grade 7, it was such a relief to be with a whole new pack of kids. I met a really important person in grade 7, a guy named Steve. We became besties right away. All of junior high, it was him and me. We were inseparable, and he was a safe person for me. He wasn't interested in me romantically. That part of my gender identity that just has always and still does feel more comfortable around guys. Puberty was really tough because I didn't really develop. I didn't really grow boobs. I didn't get my period, I think, till grade 9 or something. So again, my struggle with gender stuff continued because I really just didn't quite feel like I was a girl, or like I wasn't following the same patterns as the girls around me. And it just was like a lot of feeling insufficient and shame and all of that in my body. I got into drugs pretty early. Like, I would say my good buddy Steve was a pretty bad influence. And I'm laughing because in grade 9, he was diagnosed with cancer. And so that was a real sharp turn. We were party, doing drugs at school, skipping class, all that stuff. And he got cancer, and then all of the party friends kind of dropped off because it was heavy, deep, and real. And then moving into high school, it was a whole other time of straddling high school along with a best friend who was going through heavy-duty chemo and treatments, dealing with life and death. I still had soccer. So 8-year-old Elinor played soccer, and that carried me all through high school. And that was a lifesaver for me. It was a different community than the school community. It was a place where I could try out forms of leadership. I think I liked the team aspect even more than the sport itself. And that's the part of me now as a filmmaker. I can look back and say, yeah, I love collaborating. I wasn't boy crazy like my friends. I had zero interest in guys. Up until my senior year where, I had a boyfriend, but I had zero interest. And that was another thing that made me feel odd. I was attracted to girlfriends, but I didn't know where to put that. Felt a bit asexual, to be honest, for most of my high school years. Yeah, it was just navigating kind of a lot of those layers and as you do in high school, kind of like you, hanging out with people, going to parties. But I bopped around a lot of different groups too. I think I really resisted being locked in to any one dynamic because I just found that people could be quite oppressive and mean when you got into that group mind. It wasn't until Steve died that I think I really embraced the group that I was in because we really went through something powerful together. And that really launched me into a totally different trajectory in my senior year.
That had quite an impact on the whole school. And I know you were very much at the epicenter of it. And I know we're going to get into it later, so we're not going to dive into it episode 1. But
we got a lot to say about that.
We got a lot to say about that. But yeah, that was quite a moment.
It was
in our high school when you were looking for those moments of joy and happiness and security. Like where would you go?
Well, nature has always been and still is my place. So a lot of walks on Nose Hill, going to the farm in the summers. I really discovered poetry and art in high school. So I was that moody high schooler who would put on my tunes and light my candles and do some painting and get the vibes.
I can see that.
Getting into music and like sinking into it, bringing in visuals and, photography. I mean, you saw, I brought a huge bag of photos that
I made her take half of it home, ladies and gentlemen. It was out of control.
Because I just, from grade 10 onwards, it was nonstop. My mom was really generous. We had an agreement she would develop a roll a week if it wasn't crap.
Right.
It was a source of learning, constant learning, observing, playing. And probably a little bit of a safe place too, because I'm behind the lens,
When I think back to season 1 of Late in 88, we also discussed sort of like our home situations and how they differed and how that played a role in how we behaved and operated outside of the home. So what changed in your home life moving into high school and that period?
There was a big change in my house when I was 13 because my sister moved out. So I became an only child. So all those years, most of junior high and high school, it was me and my parents. Generally speaking, it was pretty chill, save for a few times that I had parties and they smelled pot smoke in the greenhouse, It was pretty quiet, going through a grieving process and going through a trauma alone in the house with my parents that was the biggest challenge. My sister was away at university, so I would pop out to go visit her and get a lot of exposure to a lot of things, which was good. Actually, to have an older sister be like, here's how you sneak out. She's the first person I smoked pot with. So.
And you've told her that you're going to be talking about all of this on the internet. Yeah. Well, this is actually the interesting part. I feel like our home dynamic actually does a completely shift.
Yeah.
My home life became much more volatile in my teenage years. My parents' marriage started to become quite fraught for a variety of reasons. And so during the period, starting when I was 14, my father did become abusive. And because he wasn't able to control his anger, and I unfortunately inherited his anger as well, we had it out in the sense that he would get quite violent with me on several occasions, basically. I guess I would say like throughout my entire high school years. So for me, the home was not a safe space. As soon as I got my driver's license, I was like out of there. And it was rough. Like, you know, my mom at one point, like I started to refuse to tell her where I was because like I just didn't want to be there. And so at one point she had to like call the police on me. It was bad. That was like peak Karen white woman. I'm like, how she even managed to get the Calgary Police Service to like come and get me. I don't know what like insane lie she had to tell them. I hadn't been missing for 24 hours. I was not technically in danger. They certainly did come and hauled me out of my friend's house. Like, wow. It was wild.
Must have been scary.
Scary and embarrassing as fuck.
Yeah.
We were all hanging out, partying, like underage drinking and stuff. And like my friend's boyfriend's like, you're not allowed to come over anymore because you could get me in trouble. Like the cops were here and da-da-da-da. And I'm like, great, thanks. And then like, of course, that night, like things ended badly. Like for me and my dad. It's like, well, you wonder why I didn't want to go home. Again, it's like I was putting on armor at home. I was smart enough to know that I couldn't run away, but it like everything suffered outside of that. But it made me super nihilistic and like mean, which wasn't fair to some people. But I was not a bully because I'm more likely to be like quiet and like smoking cigarettes. Like that's when I started like cutting myself. So I became very like insular, sitting on the garage roof, like in a, you know, with the snow coming down. Like I'm cold, but I didn't care. And then just like pining after like my best friend while listening to Jan Arden's Time for Mercy, right? Like I would die for you, right? Like
so intense, eh?
Oh, dude.
The
like,
feelings are so intense.
The drama!
I'm really remembering how shut down I was. Like I was so disassociated by the time I got to high school, while at the same time longing for connection. Okay, don't get too close because then I have to feel.
Right.
To feel how uncomfortable I actually am and how confused I actually am. And I don't think I would have realized how shut down I was if I hadn't gone through such a big event of a friend's death. I got sick after he died because I couldn't feel. I didn't know how. It wasn't my dynamic to act out, right? It was to internalize and hide. When I started looking at some of the materials from my teenage world, like my journals and things like that, that was the overriding feeling that came to me. It was like, oh, I just was longing to feel seen and to feel meaning, you know, a sense of meaning, or trying to make sense of just the weight of it, for sure. Bronwin, how do you remember me in high school? Because guess what, friends? We went to junior high school together. We went to high school together. How do you remember me?
Okay. I actually have a better memory of Elinor in high school.
Do you?
I do. I remember you as being like relatively outgoing. I remember you as being very much at the center with Steve, like because I remember you in junior high. It was you and Steve, two little party hamsters. And then... And so then when obviously Steve got sick, it's like you were in that orbit. Yeah, I still thought you were really cute.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Like the rocker girls of the 90s. You had that kind of vibe.
I was going grunge.
Yeah, you were going grunge.
I embraced the grunge vibe.
You're super cute. You were like, yeah, I'd go there. I wouldn't kick her out of bed for eating crackers.
That's very kind.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that when I see photos of myself.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but you were super cute. And you still are. Yes.
Aww.
We had a lot of special programs in our school.
Yeah.
We had like the sports school and programs for students with disabilities. And you were really generous with them. And I remember that always like warmed my heart. Like, because some people were really cruel about that. And I always found that to be really shitty because that's not fair. And I always gave people shit for that whenever I heard it, but you were always really cool about that, so I always felt like that was
funny. You remember that?
Yeah,
I loved hanging out with those kids.
I was always too much of a fucking mess. I was always like, man, I wish I was more together so I could have something to offer.
I mean, we had quite a few students who had Down syndrome.
Yeah.
And like I said, I bounced around a lot. And I would make my rounds and go hang out with them because it was so chill and nice. Like I didn't feel like I was doing any duties. I honestly enjoyed spending time with them. It was like a fun vibe.
Totally.
You know?
Totally.
So I was grateful for them, to be honest, because there was a sanity there that there wasn't otherwise, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And don't take this the wrong way, but it's like after Steve passed, the sort of like darkness that came, there was something about that I was like, I understand that. I didn't know how to approach and say anything, especially because like there were so many people always like trying to help you out in one way or another.
Help.
Well, yeah, like in like air quotations with an asterisk. You were somebody that I wish I could have been friends with.
Yeah.
When you were putting it on, like it kind of felt put on when you were being playful.
Totally.
But it still looked fun, if that makes sense.
Dude, you totally saw through me. Like no wonder we're sitting here 20 mazillion years later being honest with each other because you saw through me.
Yeah.
I mean, and you're right. I put it on, but it was still fun.
It was that's the thing.
At least we were having fun.
Well, that's the thing. Like you're putting it on, but it was a good time.
Even as you were sharing, I was totally remembering you in a new way. And because when we were getting ready to come here and do this, I just had like a freeze frame of you. This might be my imagination, but it was like you had a trench coat on.
Oh, probably at
like
some point.
All black. And you're like leaning against the locker.
Probably.
And like that is literally the snapshot. It's just like Bronwin leaning against the locker, not saying anything, probably has sunglasses on. Yes. And that's like the vibe.
Yeah. Yeah.
We had common friends, you know, so I feel like there was that connection of being aware of what you were up to in a way. We hung out with the same guy friend, and he was at the ranch too, right?
Right, yeah.
And so I remember him talking about you a lot and talking about you guys at the ranch and your adventures there. And it kind of had this whole texture and vibe to it that I was like, it sounds really fun and like cool and wild and like it just was so cool to me that you guys did that on the weekends. To me, you were your own person. You were like tough. It felt to me like you had your shit together in a way.
Right.
Because you had your own life.
Right.
It felt like you had your own life, like outside of this weird ecosystem of high school. And I didn't clock your sexuality, but I was so checked out from mine that I don't think I was looking for it either. In season 1, we really asked the question, what if we would have been friends? And we answered it. But now here we are in high school. And of course, I find myself asking the question again, what if we would have been friends in high school? Yeah. You know, at this juncture, it feels like two worlds that were very far apart.
Mm-hmm. We're still on parallel paths in a way, but the canyon is wider.
Yeah. Even though we were still dealing with similar things, somehow, it feels like a bigger gulf.
That's what I'm saying. It is a full storage closet full of fuckery, but it's also why, in this case, we have a whopping 10 episodes to explore all of this. We got some incredible guests lined up, some new ones, we got some old ones coming back, a field of experts. We're so excited to have you along for the ride.
And of course, we want you to bring your inner teenager along on the ride as well, if you're brave. If you're brave souls.
Check it out. Come on down, man.
Bring your attitude, bring your whatevers, bring your ambivalence, and we're going to go play. We're going to dig in there and really see what it was like to be a teen in the 90s. Mm-hmm. Queer, gender non-conforming, what were we up against? And what did we need that we didn't get?
We're going to let our freak flag fly, friends. Love you guys. We'll see you next time. This has been Late in 88.
Season 2.
Thanks for coming over and hanging out. Be sure to subscribe and get the next episode directly in your feed. Follow us on your favorite social platforms at late.in.88. We cannot wait to hear your angsty teenage stories. Check out our website, latein88.com, for more resources on all the grungy topics we dig into this season. Late in 88 is created by Bronwin Parks and Elinor Svoboda. Edited by Elfire Media. Original music by Aaron Hutchinson. Additional production by Women in Media Network. Artwork by Feisty Creative. We would like to acknowledge the generous support from Alberta Foundation for the Arts.